In 1884, Africa was not empty. It was a continent of empires, trade networks, and powerful kingdoms. Benin, Ashanti, Ethiopia, the Sokoto Caliphate, these were structured societies with laws, armies, and economies. But Europe was changing. The Industrial Revolution had created machines that needed fuel, rubber, gold, ivory, palm oil. European nations began racing toward Africa, hungry for resources and global dominance. Competition grew dangerous. So instead of fighting each other, they gathered in Berlin. In November 1884, 14 European nations met under German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. Officially, the goal was to regulate trade. In reality, they were there to divide a continent. No African leader was invited. No African voice was present. Maps were spread across polished tables. Rulers and ink carved straight lines through territories that had existed for centuries. Rivers, languages, and ethnic boundaries were ignored. Borders were drawn for European convenience, not African stability. The conference introduced a rule called effective occupation. If a nation wanted land, it had to control it physically. That decision triggered the Scramble for Africa. Armies moved inland. Resistance rose but was crushed by superior weapons. Kingdoms fell. Leaders were exiled. By 1914, nearly the entire continent was under European control. Only Ethiopia and Liberia remained independent. The Congo became the private possession of Belgium's King Leopold II, where forced labor and brutality led to millions of deaths. Elsewhere, Britain, France, Germany, and Portugal expanded their territories rapidly. But the most lasting damage was the borders. Communities were split apart. Rival groups were forced into single colonies. When African nations later gained independence, they inherited those artificial lines. Many modern political tensions can trace their roots back to decisions made in that Berlin room. The conference lasted only a few months. Its consequences have lasted more than a century. Today, when you look at the straight borders on a map of Africa, you are seeing the legacy of that meeting, lines drawn in ink, but felt in generations. The Berlin Conference was not just a diplomatic event. It was the moment a continent was divided without its consent, and its echoes still remain.